Hey guys, I'm back here again on my channel. This is a different one from my channel, so if you have watched all my other stuff, you're going to notice this is a different type of video than the normal ones. If you're new here, you'll notice that also I really don't have any other videos about DJ gear, sound system, speaker equipment or anything, but I do DJ in Chicago, and although most of the places I DJ I don't need to bring my own speakers, but some places locally when I do as well, I will need to bring speakers. So I decided to upgrade my mobile speaker setup to these new AlphaTheta Wave 8s. They are made by Pioneer. My old ones, I had some Behringer, 12-inch actually, and I got powered speakers just because it's easier than lugging around an amp to plug in just a couple speakers. So having powered speakers all in one, it's nice to have. My old Behringers were 12-inch. They were much heavier than these. These are 8-inch woofer and tweeter, and they also have a bass port on the back. They're not sealed. My Behringers were sealed, actually they weren't. But my Behringers, the bass response is definitely, even for the 12-inch, not as good as these Wave 8s. So I've seen a bunch of reviews for these because they just came out recently. I wanted to find them in a store to listen to them before I bought them, but I just broke down and went ahead and bought them online and just got them the other day. And I'm very pleased with my purchase. They cost me a lot more than the Behringers. However, the big features that this has that are probably where some of the money goes, other than the better sound quality just in general, is the wireless and battery powered. So they do have, according to AlphaTheta, up to 8 hours of battery life. I'm assuming that's how hard you're driving them. They may get less, but even if they got like half of that, that would fit my needs. Where I use speakers, I'm not doing anything more than 4 hours. Usually maybe only 3 sometimes. Places I do longer than that, they have a whole sound setup. I don't need speakers. So that is very cool. The one piece with these is they are very low latency. They call it Sonic Link. It's their technology that they've created that is not Bluetooth. However, these are also Bluetooth speakers. But Bluetooth is laggy if you're DJing. If you're not, Bluetooth is great. Works fine. Don't have to worry about it. However, these ones have that Sonic Link technology where it comes with this little box that you plug RCAs into, sync this with the speaker, and then essentially it's indistinguishable from if it was wired for the most part. I'm sure if you took some super high-end gear and figured it out, you'd see some super millisecond delay, but for the most part, at least for my purposes, I've noticed it is right there. I can beat match just fine, not an issue. So it works great. It does also have a nice carrying handle with some wheels on the back, which I'll show you in a second when I show you some more close-ups of the connections on it, because you can use it wired, you can use it plugged in. Just because it has this technology doesn't mean you have to use it. However, you probably paid some extra money for technology you're not going to use if you're going to use it wired. But it is great. And you can link up to 8 of these together. So I bought 2 for left and right. So as I normally have, 2 link fine. You basically link this to 1, and then you connect one to the other and chain them together essentially to use up to 8 of them. You can use them as full range speakers or just highs or low as a sub, and it has a pretty good range. So I'm not going to demonstrate the volume on camera because it'll sound horrible. You're not going to get the real effect of what it sounds like. There's really no point to that, and that's why I really wanted to go out and listen to them somewhere. Unfortunately, the Guitar Center's by me. You could buy it online, but you can't. They don't have them in store, at least not yet. Maybe they will at some point. So I ordered them online from a website that I've used before. AGI Pro DJ is the name of the website. A lot of times they will have deals where you get like 10% off or something like that. So I did get some money off of these. I didn't have to pay full price. Everywhere else, they're still full price. They're brand new. So they had a deal going on, so I got a little bit of money off of them. But I am very impressed by the volume. I've used it at about half volume, and it's plenty. I would say for a room of, 100 people or so at least, you'll get plenty of volume. The more of these you add, obviously the more volume you're going to get, the more you'll be able to cover that room. But with just 2 of these, they will be fine for the locations I do where I need speakers, where it's maybe like a small bar or even an average size, maybe larger bar. I don't think I'll be even turning these up halfway when I'm using them. I haven't used them in the space or one of the spaces yet, so I don't know for sure, but comparing them to the volume I put on my Behringers, yeah, I don't think I'll be using them halfway, and they will sound way better, way more bass, just an overall better speaker. Granted, they cost 3 to 4 times as much as I paid for the Behringers. Behringers are very inexpensive speakers, but depending on your budget and what you're looking for, they got me by for many years, so they were good for the purpose that I needed them at the time. But let's take a look at this. I'll give you some more close-ups of the speaker itself and the connections and everything, and then I'll give you my final thoughts. Although I just gave you a ton of my thoughts to begin with, but I'll give you some other basic stuff as well. So also just a note, on the front here you see some lights. I think they're right over here, if I'm looking correctly. So one is a power light, the white one I think you see on right now, because I do have it on. It'll be green if it's using the SonicLink technology, and blue if it's using the Bluetooth technology. So that is pretty cool. That way you know if it's connected and how it's connected directly looking at the front. So let's go ahead and take a look at the connections, and then I'll be back with my final thoughts. All right, and around here we have the back, which has a waterproof covering or water resistant covering that covers some of the connections. So if you do want to use this connected, this pops open. It is attached here at the top, so you don't lose the cover, it stays attached. It does make it a little difficult for getting in here depending on if you have it on a stand or wherever you have it. But in here you have an auxiliary input that is just like the headphone jack. You do have balanced XLR or 1/4 inch that you can plug into here as your normal connections if you want to use it wired. You do have a level for the microphone, a microphone connection, 1/4 inch, and then line out that you can go to another speaker or another device that would obviously potentially be plugged in. The low, high, and echo here are used for the microphone only. I don't know if you can see that, but it does say mic. So these even, I thought at first maybe, because I didn't read the part that said mic, I thought at first that it would control the EQ on it for the music, but it does not. That is strictly on the top part. But these are specific to the mic itself. And then there is a USB-C connection in here that you can plug in something USB-C to charge maybe your phone or whatever, to give it power from the battery that's in here, or if you have this thing plugged in. And then if I just pan down slightly, you will see here the bottom portion where we have our AC for charging it or plugging it in normally. This is also covered by a rubber flap that is connected so it doesn't come off. If you actually pull these things pretty hard, you're going to break them off probably or pop them out. So I don't know how difficult that would be to get back in. So I would say be somewhat cautious as you're popping these out to charge it, so you don't just grab it and rip it. And then back here you do also see this is the bass port, which gives these things quite a bit of bass for their size for sure, and the wheels for when you're rolling it around. So that is pretty cool. So let me show you the top real quick, and then I'll talk about it a little more. Okay, on the top here we have our main controls, as well as this is our handle for carrying. Push in, pops up. I know that's off camera, but you get the gist if you have a piece of luggage. But here you have the power button. Above that is your charge. So holding the power button for like 1 or 2 seconds. Should power on, maybe it's 3 seconds. You'll see it power on. I have this fully charged right now. You have volume control next to it. The SonicLink, which is their syncing technology. This button here is to connect it to another speaker. If you want to switch over to Bluetooth, you have the Bluetooth button. The channels, you can have it be left, right, or mono, essentially, stereo mono. Then this is your EQ. So you don't have a bass, treble, mid, or anything like that. You just have these pre-designed settings for you. You have music low cut, which is just going to give you the high frequencies, flat low cut, high frequencies as well again, vocal, and then you can use it as a subwoofer only, so it'll just give you the low frequencies. So if you had maybe like 3 of these or more, because you can link up to 8 of them, you would potentially have some of them on, say, music high cut or flat high cut, and then 1 or more on just subwoofer. So it just gets the low frequencies and can fill out your room more as just a sub, doesn't have to worry about doing those other frequencies in there. So that could be very helpful if you want to use all of these without maybe another sub, or it depends on your need, essentially. My need, I don't even think I'll need a sub with what I'm going to be using these for, because they do put out quite a bit of bass for the size. So that are your main connections, and let me show you the connection for the actual SonicLink box where it goes into the side of this thing here. Okay, this is the right side if you're looking at it from the back, or the left side from the front. This is a rubber cover that is waterproof or water resistant as well. Pop it out and you can see this has also connections on it, keeping it so you don't lose it. And then in here you actually have the box. I'm not sure exactly how this thing connects, because as I may have mentioned, or I'll mention here in my closing, the worst thing about this is the instructions. So it has a USB-C connection up here. It comes with this cord. One side is a 90-degree angle and then wraps around. And this is the link box, or SonicLink connection. So you have 2 RCA inputs. It does have a USB-C charger with a little rubber cover as well, as is the theme here with everything having a rubber cover. It has a power/pairing button, input, and battery. So it'll show you the battery charge on this, because this thing is also rechargeable. It gets charged when you just have it sitting in here. So as long as you're keeping things charged, this thing should always be fully charged. The power button will pair it to the speaker. So that is in the instructions on how to do that, and I'll go over that in a moment. But here we have the basic box. I tend to have decided that is not 90 degrees, what I put in there, so that this can kind of wrap around like this. But it's kind of, you see when I have it in here, it's not right side up, but this is the right side up, which is maybe the way it should go. But then the connector's up here. So it's kind of tricky. I don't know which way is the best way to put it in here. Either way fits. So, and either way works. It's just, you know, kind of inconvenient in some ways, but it does pop in. Oh, of course now I'm having difficulties with it. But if I plug this in, and then pop it in, seems to fit. It kind of seems like it bulges out, but it closes just fine. So I'll mess around with that myself a little bit to see what's the best way to have it sticking in there. Because it was in there when you open it, but it doesn't have that cord. So it fits in there easily enough without that cord, without a problem. So, okay, some final thoughts here. I think it's a very good speaker. I think, you know, the bass response is very good. The complaints I would have about it is really the manual. The manual is basically just a picture manual. I don't know if you can see it on here. Just to give you a general idea, I'm sure it's available online. But it is a picture manual. It shows you how to connect things, how to sync things. It doesn't really even say what the buttons are. It just kind of has the symbols. So like the Bluetooth button has the Bluetooth symbol. the speaker button has the speakers, like just shows 2 speakers. It doesn't really tell you how to do it. So like I kind of had to guess, like, am I pushing that speaker button? Am I pushing it on the other one, on both of them? I don't know. I still don't really know, but I know I got it to work. That's all I know. It tells you like push this button for 3 seconds, and it shows like it shows 4 pictures of the sync button. One has lines around it, the other one doesn't, then lines around it, then doesn't, and to represent, I assume, flashing. So it kind of says, okay, it should be flashing. At first I thought maybe there were supposed to be 4 lights on the sync box and there's only 3, but then I realized it's representing flashing. One thing I don't think it can do, but I don't know because the instructions don't say, is I think you can only pair multiple speakers together if you're using the Sonic Link technology. If you use Bluetooth, it's 1-to-1. I've tried to maybe Sonic Link it to the other one. I've tried pressing the speaker button to link it to the other one. It does not work when it's in Bluetooth mode. So I think that only is for when you're using the Sonic Link technology to use it for, DJing low latency stuff. Obviously, you could probably connect your phone or whatever you want to the Sonic Link box if you get some adapters, headphone connections, etc., so that you can use the Sonic Link technology and get multiple speakers with that same source. However, just a quick and easy Bluetooth, it'd be nice if I could still link speakers together, and I don't believe you can do that. If you can, and you know that you can, please put in the comments and let me know, because I'd love to know how to do that. The instructions don't tell you. They don't tell you one way or the other, because there is literally, the only words on this instructions, it says Sonic Link, Bluetooth, aux, and mic, so it has like the 4 different types of connections, and it just says operations, basic operation, and then the other side says quick start guide and example of connections. So that is literally almost the only words on here other than the copyright and stuff like that. So doesn't tell you too much. It does come with RCA cables as well. They're not anything super high quality, but they get the job done. So each one of these comes with RCA cables, the USB-C for the Sonic Link box to connect that, and a power cord. So that is all included in there. You don't need anything else than what comes in the box. But they are only around 25 pounds, so that is nice as well. My old Behringers were a lot heavier, 35 to 40, I can't remember, so another 10, 15 pounds does make a difference. Even though these are 25, probably could be more because they have the easy suitcase handle and wheels on the back to roll it around. So it's a lot more convenient. The one thing I do say is kind of like a little wacky. I do use them on tripods, on speaker stands, and it has one handle on the one side, but the other side is where the Sonic Link box goes, so there's no handle on the other side. So with my Behringers, I would typically grab it from both sides, pull it up to pull it off the stands, easy enough. This one I kind of have to grab it from one side, grab it from the bottom, pull it up. A little bit more cumbersome, not much, nothing I'm going to really go crazy over, especially since they are lighter. So they're not that difficult to get off the stands as well. So thank you for checking out my video. Hopefully you found this somewhat informative. I know there's a bunch of professional videos out there about these speakers, giving you the specs, giving you the information. A lot of them by professional DJs or DJ websites or YouTube channels that go over how they feel about them, and they've had much more experience, I'm sure, with other speakers than I have. So take my opinions for what it's worth from some guy who I do some basic stuff. I don't, not, DJing to a million people. I'm doing small events. I don't do weddings, but I would assume these would be, pretty good in a wedding, especially if you do things like outside. We don't have to worry about power to these. You can put your gear where there's power, where you have a plug, but maybe you want to put speakers around and there's no easy way to get power. You don't have to run super long extension cords and XLR cables or anything. So I think they'd be perfect for a situation like that and be plenty loud. Even if you had a larger outdoor wedding, especially if the more of these, you can just keep adding to them. You can buy 2, buy 1, see if it fits your needs, add another one if you need it to be louder or cover more room. Add another one if you need to be louder, up to 8 of them. You know, if you had 8 of these, you'd cover a pretty big room. Granted, if you're doing a room that size, you probably want better speakers in general, just, you know, especially if you're doing dance nights with more bass. Even though these do have a lot of bass for their size. They are very good for what they are. So that's my thoughts. Thank you for checking out my video, checking out my channel. My channel is normally about like arcade stuff a lot, like you see behind me, the arcade 1-ups, other mini arcades or video games. I do also do some hot sauce challenges with some friends. You can find those on here. So check out the rest of my channel if you like it. Please do subscribe. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers and I'm not super far away. Maybe like 35, 40 people, somewhere around there at this point. So please subscribe if you can. Watch the videos you like. Just skip past the ones you don't. And give me a thumbs up if you like this video as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.